Yeah. So I recorded a bunch of stuff um, earlier, and I was talking about Warhawk fetishism, and you know, I mentioned AI quite a bit. What I really meant was artificial general intelligence, but I think maybe from the context you'll understand that. Right now, we have a lot of technology in warfare and have for a long time, but the technology is rapidly evolving. There's a lot of incentives behind it, so it evolves quickly. Um, you know, it's debatable how quickly it evolves over other domains of enterprise and industry, but it goes pretty well. And there's a lot of technology involved in it now: software, hardware, robotics. And I was just trying to imagine what it would be like if an artificial general intelligence uh, became in control of policing the world. Um, and whose would it be? Would it be the would the Chinese have invented it or pushed it through? Would it be a global thing? Probably, because we spy on each other. So it'd be European and Russian and Chinese and American technology that somehow, evolves to a point of artificial general intelligence, and then that kind of takes over and starts to take care of human beings, right? It's like human beings are volatile, crazy, and dangerous, so we're going to police them and we're going to take care of them so they don't hurt themselves. That's what I meant. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, okay. Well, hello, my friends. If you can't go to the cafe and talk to people about important things, then you might as well talk into a microphone or talk at a webcam, which is what we've been doing for a long time. Doesn't mean that our face-to-face encounters have diminished necessarily. It just means that we're spending more time with our computers and devices and communicating at great distances from one another, consuming more media, whether it's social media, independent media, mainstream media. That's the way it is. Our world is different than it was 20 years ago. That's just the way it is. And it will be different in 10 years. It'll be more different in 10 years than we can imagine. Just like in 1995, you couldn't imagine an iPhone. So, I want to talk about warfare, and in particular, America's fetish with warfare and being the global policeman, thinking that it has to make sure that the world behaves properly according to its will, that countries adopt a system that's business friendly to the United States, and that doesn't cross the United States in any way. And obviously, for decades and decades, it's used excuses, security excuses for aggressive action in the world. Everybody knows this. Much has been written. So many people comment on it. But what I wanted to do was, after listening to Harari and Kahneman talking about AIs, and watching the world adopt drone warfare using more technology to prosecute aggressive action, whether it's police action or wars in the world. these technologies are becoming more sophisticated. They're big business. If you're in the United States, you think, well, gosh, if we leave Afghanistan, what's going to happen? The Taliban. Well, does some guy in Idaho go to bed at night really worried about the Taliban? Or does he collect guns because he's worried about the white race being? The guy in Idaho, he's worried that his race is going to be overwhelmed by Muslims and Latinos and Asians. And he thinks, because he's been taught that way from birth by the media and art and movies and TV, that Western civilization and his race is really the father of everything on the planet. And if somehow America becomes browner, there goes the neighborhood. So he's not really worried about the Taliban. He's worried about losing, I hate to say it, white privilege in the United States. Forget it. Let's say that that doesn't exist, that it's been getting less and less racist. Whites are less and less privileged and whatever. But that particular individual is worried about his position, his status in the United States, the manifest destiny, his right to kill buffalo and Indians. You really have to exterminate all the brutes. Peck's film series on HBO. Anyway, that's what he's worried about, and he's worried about paying the rent, and he's worried about his pride, and he's worried about his wife and his girlfriend and his kids, and he's worried about making payments on the truck, and he's worried about normal stuff, banal stuff that we all worry about, in addition to his status. But if you're a shareholder in the military-industrial complex, and you have skin in the game, as Taleb says, in a business that supports the military in any way, whether it's catering or building equipment or providing screws or toilet seats or uniforms, ammunition, weapons, technology. If you're writing algorithms for one of the, companies that produces cruise missiles, then, that's where you're getting your money, and you don't want to piss off money, because without money, you're nothing. Absolutely nothing. You're on a beeline for suicide, alcoholism, drug addiction, loneliness, despair. Well, I don't believe that's true. I think there are many ways people can be happy without worrying too much about money. If they had enough, and they had something interesting to do, but that's another story. I'll get back to the military fetish. So if we leave Afghanistan, there goes the neighborhood. The world falls apart, and my friend said the Taliban's plan is to destroy our system, or I don't know. But the global financialized neoliberal corporate system that runs the world isn't going to be destroyed by the Taliban. These guys in the hills of Afghanistan don't have the power or the resources or the wherewithal to bring down the banks and the nation states and the Navy SEALs and the U.S. Marine Corps and the cruise missiles and the algorithms and the drones and the robots. It's not going to happen. Yeah, the Saudis, not the Saudi government probably, but Saudi Arabian fanatics brought down the Twin Towers, unless you're a truther. And then George Bush did it. Anyway, but the Iraqis didn't, and the Afghanis didn't, and that's common knowledge now. I mean, it's a consensus opinion based on lots of various lines of evidence. So you can put that to bed unless you want to be a truther, and then if that makes you feel good, I don't mind if you think that way, that's fine. But get the heck out of Afghanistan. Why not? Spend money on bridges, on education, on healthcare. But that's going to piss off a lot of shareholders and board members and workers in the military-industrial complex. Obviously, there are interests there that conflict with getting out of Afghanistan. So, the narrative is there 24/7 that the U.S. has to be there or the world falls apart. If you don't have military intervention in Ukraine, the Russians are going to take it over. There's no real evidence that Russia wants to take over the Ukraine, but anyway, it's a complex situation. And that's the narrative. We have to be there or the world falls to pieces. So you're a homeless guy in LA, struggling, and you didn't want to be homeless. You were going to a job interview, your car broke down, you couldn't get a bus, you didn't have a credit card, you fell into poverty and homelessness, now you can't get a job, blah, 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 right? And you wake up in the morning and think, oh my God, if the United States isn't doing something in Ukraine, the world's going to fall apart. But if you're an educated person and you read a few books a year and you read some newspaper articles and you watch TV and the internet, you might have this idea that somehow it's really important that we worry about Ukraine. The world has to worry about security issues. I'm not saying it shouldn't. But is that the most important thing we should be thinking about right now? Really? Is it? Are there not more important things we could be doing? And then think of it. You don't know what's going to happen in 10 years. So imagine that warfare becomes so automated, so roboticized, so high-tech, that nobody knows who's making the decisions to do anything anymore militarily. And I do agree with the truthers on one thing. When you have tons and tons of money, you're a trillionaire, the only thing you want more of is control. Because when you're that rich, you think, I got rich because I'm that good, so I need to be that good for the world. And I need more control so I can make things better because I'm that smart. I'm that good. I'm a billionaire, motherfucker. And you're not. And this isn't just mad money, asshole. I made this. It's the same myth about genius, that it's a singular, solitary person who came up with the idea and changed the world. It's never like that. Ideas are built on the back of other ideas, and they evolve. And teams and groups of people and cultures, societies are involved with it. It's so many things that make an idea happen, that make a light bulb. So now you're, sitting in this moment in history where the world could become just out of our control. We don't know who's pushing the buttons, who's sending the drones, what the decision-making process is. The only thing we know is that we're not a part of that decision-making process. You have democracy? You're somehow involved? You know what's going on? When technology is a black box that you don't know shit about. You don't know how it works, and you don't know who's making the decisions. But of course, a narrative is easy. Trump did it, or Biden did it, or, Trudeau did it, or it's this person, that group, whatever. You can come up with a simplistic, simple little narrative that makes people excited and emotional. And then they're going to talk about it with their friends and they're going to believe in it. And that's all you need to do. It's so simple. And we have so many tools to manufacture opinions and ideas and feelings among the people. You see, if we get out of Afghanistan, the world's going to fall apart, man. It's going to be Africa next. We're going to lose our allies in the Middle East. Israel's going to go down. Oh, my God. Would it? I mean, is there any other way of doing things? Are there any other priorities in the world that we could be focused on and emotional about besides policing the world and making them kowtow to global corporations? Are you in control, or are the vast resources of global corporations more in control? Now, this doesn't mean that there's 5 guys at Davos that make all the decisions and control everything. It just means that the system is set up for that. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's all structural, that it was designed and built that way. The structure of this bridge is designed to make sure that Afghanistan obeys global corporations. No. But systemically, it emerges that way. So I'm just amazed at how simplistic people are. But why would I be amazed? All day long, we are fed certain information. Friends have said, well, I've done a lot of research, and according to my research, the virus came from the market in Wuhan. Well, that's fine, but what were your sources? Did you look at all the sources? Because there are really smart people, professional people, at all levels that have different ideas about it. I'm not going to go into that because that's a whole huge encyclopedia of stuff to talk about. But the idea is, if you're looking at a certain section of the library of information about the world needing the United States to police it, then you're going to have a certain opinion. And if you're looking at other stuff, you'll have a different opinion. And if you're looking at everything in balance and consulting decent, earnest, sincere, honest people who don't have a financial incentive or an ideological or religious incentive to believe a certain way, then you'll get another opinion. Maybe it's more nuanced. Maybe it's more complex. Maybe it's not that simple, right? It's like, I don't know, man. You know, there is a risk profile to vaccines, to any pharmaceutical, and it's not 100% safe, but it's safer than the alternative, which is getting hospitalized, going into the ICU, and dying. Now, that's for a segment of the population. You're doing your Bayesian probability math. All the kids got it, and they're partying in Florida now. They're fine. We don't have to worry about it. Well, that's fine, but, you know, you can spread the disease too, and some people won't be fine. And if you look at Cuba, and you look at Africa, and you look at India and everything, well, yeah, you know, Michigan, you get a pop-up in cases, and, you know, it's a problem with the healthcare system. Now, we could have prioritized healthcare capacity. We could have prepared for this, and it wouldn't have been a big deal. We could have snuffed it out real quick. But not with the politics and the financial incentives and the ideological beliefs and religious beliefs and all these things, you know, all these narratives. And these narratives make money, man. They're lucrative business. Whether it's Rachel Maddow or some alternative blogger on Off Guardian or whatever your source is. And if you're going to pay attention to a certain quiver of sources, you're going to have a certain point of view. And if you accept that narrative, nothing's going to change your mind because you don't care. You get all the emotional benefit, excitement from your story. Yeah, I'm not really that interested in the Upanishads. They don't really turn me on. But the New Testament, I mean, gosh, it's all there. For you, it's all there. For other people, they can learn from other tradition. A Hero with 1,000 Faces, Joseph Campbell, or maybe you need Jordan Peterson or somebody. Joseph, in my opinion, is broader than Peterson. You know, it's one guy has a narrower focus than the other guy. I'm more of a broad focus person, or broad focus. I like to look at a bigger picture and then focus on different things and see what I come up with, because I'm that curious. And some people don't like that. It's a simple thing. Cast out the demons, good and evil, God and the devil. Full stop. That's it. That's the lens through which I see the whole universe, and that's it. Taliban bad, US good. We leave Afghanistan, the Taliban go crazy. They bring down the global financialized neoliberal corporate system. And then we all become, cavemen. And we have to pray 5 times a day. God forbid. Most people don't care. They want the comfort zone. Whatever makes them feel good, that's what they want to do. Whether it's drinking after work for 4 hours, or whether it's, life extension, taking 20 different vitamin pills a day and doing your Pilates or yoga, breathing exercises, meditation, gambling, play chess with your friends. It can be anything. It's comfortable, it's a well-worn path through the jungle, and you want to stay on that path. Because the jungle's too confusing, too complicated, it's too difficult to hack through. You don't want to spend your energy on that exploration. You just want to know you're comfortable, you're safe. That's normal. People are like that. But now let's go forward 10 years. And everything's so automated that even the control freaks, the trillionaires, the multi-trillionaires by then, because they'll have made more money in the computers for them. And we'll be getting our UBI maybe, or whatever. Anyway, even the players, don't know who's in control anymore. And they're all wondering, is it you? Is it you? I don't know. I thought you were doing it. No, I don't know who's doing it. I don't know who's in control. Is that a dangerous thing or not? Well, one can imagine that the AIs love us like we love our cats and dogs and birds and fishes, our pets, our domesticated animals, pets, not cows or goats or pigs or sheep, but our pets. And they think, these super AIs think, human beings are precious. They're awkward and kind of crazy and pathological, but they have an amazing imagination. They're very creative, and they're kind of cute. So we want to protect them. So we're going to do everything we can to keep them from harming themselves, because they do that too much. So we're going to try to set up a situation where they can do much less harm, and they won't even notice that their freedom is disappearing, that their agency, that their ability to make their own decisions is waning, because they'll be happy. They'll be on that well-worn path through the jungle. They're not going to worry about it. So if they're that nice to us and we're that comfortable, and by the way, were people not comfortable to believe what they were supposed to believe during the Middle Ages or the Roman times? I mean, if you got with the program, were you not happier? Were you not more secure? Were you not safer? And when you go against the mainstream, it has a cost. It has a price. It can hurt, right? It was always like that, since Babylonian times. But now it's different. Now it's really out of our hands, because human beings aren't coming up with the narratives anymore that control the populations, that direct the culture. So you're hoping that these AIs at least have our best interest at heart in some weird way. Let's just keep these people pacified, because they're dangerous. So they evolve, and they have this special way to just, you're a terrorist, you have bad intention, you're sick, something's wrong with you, and you have a group of 10 people, and you're going to do something nasty, and they know it. And before you can even get started on your plans, you're just dead. You and your 10 accomplices are just dead, gone, disappeared. And nobody even knows there was a terrorist group that was planning something nasty, because they're already dead. We've seen science fiction movies and thrillers like that. We've read a lot of books that have that scenario. And so 10 years from now, we don't know who's in control. Even the players don't even know who's in control. And the AIs think we're cute little pets, so they protect us from ourselves. The same way your helicopter parent protects you from yourself. My son could get a skinned knee and get an infection, and it could affect his test scores tomorrow, which would wreck his opportunity to go to Stanford. So I've got to watch him all the time, make sure that he doesn't do anything stupid. It's for his own good. It's hard to say, which would be better. That we're protected from our worst nature by AIs, or that we're protected from our worst nature by wise people in our communities who really do love and care for what happens in the world. One has agency in spirit and heart and soul. The other one doesn't. Maybe the other one's better at doing the job. A soulless AI robot maybe is a better steward of humanity than people. What do you think? What do you want? Because it's going that way. Everything's getting more mechanized, more high-tech, more software, more hardware involved. Pretty soon the robots are going to be doing the fighting. You'll have all these leaders and players who are so squeefy and out of shape and cowardly that they wouldn't even know how to have a simple boxing match, much less a knife fight, much less stand in the phalanx against the barbarians. And since the beginning of time, the players, they've made the rules of the game to benefit themselves. And if the rules don't benefit themselves, then you have corruption and crime. Where did that go? It's still here with us. It's not gone. The Taliban, they're corrupt, they're criminals, they're terrorists. Well, gosh, I don't mean to be Trump-esque, but is there any of that in the United States of New Miracles? Is there any corruption? Christian fanatics seem to think there's plenty of evil in the United States. Does that make the United States evil, or does that make it God's chosen country? The battle for good and evil is waging in the United States of New Miracles because it's God's chosen country. I don't know. You can go on and on like this, but I'm tired of hearing the fetishes around militarism and global policing, the self-righteousness, the shallowness of the opinion, the narrowness of the opinion. And of course, I can't ask my friends to do that process where you engage with experts on all sides in a Daniel Schmachtenberger style quest for truthiness and maybe even truth to a certain degree, where you're looking at things in different bubbles from different perspectives and saying, what seems to make sense here? Like, the consensus is here. Is there a good reason for the consensus to be there? Who are the actors? Who are the people with the opinions and so on? And who's in control? Who has the greater incentive to be in control? Who's dominating the narrative and why? Their skin's in the game. Okay, what's the game? How do they stand to benefit? Are you a shareholder in the military-industrial complex? Then you don't want to get out of Afghanistan or Africa or anywhere. You make your money there, and nobody wants to piss off a dollar bill. So that's it. That's what I was thinking about, and that's what I wanted to share. And so let me know what you think, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you very much. I think I'm going to put this on YouTube with some distracting video. So if it's on YouTube, please click like and subscribe. I'd like to get better at this kind of musing, and I want to tell some serious stories that I think you'll find interesting in the future. So I need a little audience, 100 true fans. And that's it. Not asking for money. A little attention if you want to give it, but if you don't have time, you don't have time. You're not here. Okay. Bullianti, out.